Welcome back to Daily Aha, the podcast where we find those little brilliant moments of clarity in our everyday lives. I'm Avery.
And I'm Melody. We're so glad to have you with us today. And hey, before we dive in, if you're a regular listener, thank you. And if you're new, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you never miss an aha moment.
Please do. Today we are tackling a topic that I think gives almost everyone a little bit of anxiety. That specific, low-grade panic you feel when you're trying to act like a normal human being at work.
Oh, no, I know exactly what you're talking about. We're talking about English conversation in the workplace. The small talk, the meetings, the emails, all of it.
It's so true. That walk to the office kitchen can feel like a social gauntlet. You see someone coming, you make eye contact, and your brain just starts buzzing with static. Say something, not about the weather, not about the weather.
And then what do you say? Wow, it's certainly a Wednesday out there. It's like our brains just short circuit. But that's where our big aha moment for today comes in. I was reading about this, and it's a simple mindset shift. Stop trying to be interesting and start trying to be interested.
Ooh, I love that. Interested, not interesting. It takes all the pressure off, doesn't it? You don't have to perform or be witty. You just have to be curious.
Exactly. Your only job is to learn one new thing about that person, and you do that by asking better questions. Open-ended questions. So we upgrade from how was your weekend to what, Avery?
Maybe something like, did you get to do anything that made you feel rested this weekend? Or what was the highlight of your couple of days off? It invites a story, not just a good you.
Yes. Or instead of the awful working hard or hardly working, you could ask, what's the most interesting puzzle you're trying to solve at work this week?
That's a great one. It shows you respect their work and you're actually engaged. But okay, this is all great for in person. But what about the virtual world? So much of our workplace now is just a grid of faces on a screen.
The virtual communication minefield. Let's talk about it. That 2-minute window at the start of a Zoom call before everyone arrives, that is the new awkward elevator ride. The silence is deafening.
Totally. But the same rule applies. Be interested. Use your eyes. Notice things. Hey, Melody, that's a cool poster behind you. What is it? Or, I like your virtual background. Is that a real place?
It's just about being observant, and it's so much better than just staring at your own reflection in the little window. Now, what about on Slack or email? I swear, the amount of anxiety I get from a message that just says, okay, with a period.
Right? The period makes it sound like they're furious. This is where you have to be more explicit with your tone. I've learned that an emoji or an exclamation point isn't unprofessional. It's a tool. It's a tone carrier that adds the friendliness that's missing from plain text.
And real quick, if you're finding this helpful, if you've ever stressed out over a one-word email, we'd love it if you could hit that like button or leave a review. It really helps other people find the show.
Totally. It tells the algorithms that we're not just two people talking into the void about punctuation anxiety.
So true. But this brings us to a deeper level of communication. It's not just the words we say or type, it's everything else, the nonverbal cues.
Yes, the silent conversation. In person, this is stuff we kind of know, right? Like making eye contact, but not in a creepy staring way. Having an open posture, so not crossing your arms like a grumpy bodyguard. Nodding to show you're actually listening.
Right. And there's also something called mirroring. It's when you subtly match the other person's body language. If they lean in, you lean in a little. If they use a certain hand gesture, maybe you use a similar one later. It subconsciously builds rapport. It says, hey, I'm on the same wavelength as you.
But this gets so much harder on video calls. You're just a floating head. You can't see if someone's tapping their foot impatiently under the desk.
It's so much harder, which means we have to be more intentional. First, your camera should be at eye level. Nobody wants to look up your nose. Second, and this is a big one, you have to try and look at the camera lens itself when you're talking, not at the other person's face on the screen. It feels weird, but to them, it looks like you're making direct eye contact.
That one takes so much practice. I also find you have to be more exaggerated. Like a little nod in person is fine, but on Zoom, you have to do a much more obvious nod to show you're engaged. Use hand gestures more. You're basically a newscaster from the waist up.
It's true. You're performing engagement. And that's a big part of why Zoom fatigue is so real. You're constantly sending these signals that you're paying attention, which is exhausting.
Okay, so combining all this, what about when you have to have a difficult conversation, a disagreement in a meeting? That's where the words, the tone, and the nonverbals all have to align perfectly, or it can go south fast.
The ultimate challenge. We talked about validating their point first, right? I see where you're coming from. That's step one. It disarms them. Step two is using I statements.
So instead of an accusatory, you're not thinking about the timeline. You frame it from your perspective. I'm concerned about how this approach might affect our deadline. It's about your feelings and observations, which are not up for debate.
Exactly. And while you're saying that, your nonverbals have to match. You have to keep your tone of voice calm and steady, keep your facial expression neutral, don't sigh or roll your eyes, even if you really, really want to.
It all comes back to making the other person feel heard and respected, not attacked.
Okay, so I think that's our big daily aha for today. Workplace conversation isn't a performance to be perfected, it's a skill to be practiced. And it's all about making genuine connections.
Let's recap the strategy. First, the golden rule. Be interested, not interesting. Take the pressure off.
Second, ask better open-ended questions. And then actually listen to the answers.
Third, be intentional about your nonverbal cues, especially on video. Look at that camera, not your head, and maybe use an emoji on Slack.
And finally, when you disagree, validate their point. Use I statements and keep your body language open and respectful.
That's it. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and maybe even share this episode with a coworker you always have that awkward coffee machine chat with. You know who they are.
Gently, of course. Well, that's all the time we have for today. Thanks for tuning in to Daily Aha.
We'll catch you next time. Keep looking for those little moments of clarity.